Gamers Cave. Patrick from Fusion YuGiOh, as well as the YuGiOh Pro here at Gamers Cave. How's it going? Today I'm bringing you a deck profile. It's one of mine. It is the most oppressive thing I could have come up with because I like to punish people, including myself. Yeah. We're going to get into it though. Let's check out Altergeist, Numeron Altergeist, Altergeist Numeron. However you want to say it, it doesn't really matter. It's oppressive. You're going to have some fun. So let's check it out. Alright, starting out the profile today, lads, this is going to be a little different for Altergeist. This is a 42 card deck list. It's a little bigger because the Numeron engine is in the deck, and I find that 42 cards is like the perfect number to see the Numeron cards but not see them in like a full hand of just Numeron cards, and still see enough of your Altergeist and Trap cards to be able to play the game the way Altergeist wants to play. So let's go ahead and dive right into this profile now. Moving forward is triple copies of Multi-Faker. Multi-Faker is Bay for this deck. This card is your heart, soul, bread, butter, everything. For those of you that don't know what it does, when you resolve if a trap card is activated in a chain, at the resolution you're able to special summon this card. When this card is special summoned, you get to add special summon an Altergeist monster from your deck to your side of the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. Then you've got triple copies of Meluseek. Meluseek is easily the second best Altergeist monster. It can attack directly, and when it deals battle damage, you can send one card your opponent controls to the graveyard. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add an Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. Each effect is a hard once per turn again. Meluseek is incredible. This card is absolutely incredible. It's another way to get to your Multi-Faker, as well as deal damage and spot removal, all of which are just really good things. Next up is going to be triple copies of Altergeist Marionetter. Marionetter lets you set a Altergeist trap card from your deck to your side of the field when it's summoned, and then you are able to send an Altergeist card on the field to the graveyard to special summon an Altergeist monster from your graveyard. And it's 1600. So both effects obviously are hard once per turns, but being able to set trap cards directly from the deck is absolutely crazy. And being able to revive cards, the second effect, is the effect that not a lot of people know, and that really does come in clutch. Next up is just two copies of Altergeist Silquitos. I'm horrible at pronouncing this name. I apologize. As a quick effect, you can return one other Altergeist card you control to the hand, and then target one card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. And then if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target an Altergeist trap card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Both are hard once per turns. This card is incredible in combination, especially with Altergeist Konkuri. Konkuri is the Karibo of the deck. So it special summons itself when an opponent's monster declares an attack. If you control an Altergeist card, you can special summon it, and then negate the attack. And then if this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls and negate the effects of that card with it, while it and this monster are face-up on the field. So when it's summoned, it negates the effects of another monster, which is pretty crazy. And that's it for the Altergeist monsters. But there are a few cards left for the Altergeist package. And for those of you that don't know, this is how I do my deck profiles, is in packages, not in monster spells traps. So, next up is going to be triple copies of Personal Spoofing. Spoofing lets you shuffle in one Altergeist card from your hand or face up on the field to the main deck, and then add an Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. So it lets you change out things. So it gives you, essentially, if you have this in anything that isn't Multi-Faker, you can add Multi-Faker. And because a trap card was activated and Multi-Faker is now in your hand at resolution, you're able to use Multi-Faker and go off again. So Personal Spoofing is just a mandatory card, and I think 3 is perfect. Now, some people have omitted this card to 1. I personally disagree because it does so much. 2 copies of Altergeist Protocol. Protocol, the activation and effects of Altergeist cards activated on your side of the field cannot be negated. And then also, when an opponent's monster activates an effect, you're able to tribute an Altergeist monster to negate the effect and destroy it. And now, these are both hard once per turns, which is the only part of this that makes this card a bad card. But if you do because of personal spoofing, you're able to shuffle it back in, and it gives you some recursion. And if somebody pops your Altergeist protocol when you need monster interruptions, this is a way to deal with it. Next up is going to be 2 copies of Altergeist Manifestation. Manifestation is Monster Reborn, the trap card, excuse me. You can bounce it. So if you activate this with Silkquotus on the field, you can use this, target Marionetter, and then bounce this to bounce thing on your opponent's field to the hand, which will still revive your Multi-Faker, but because this is no longer on the field and never equipped, you'll still keep the Marionetter, or the Multi-Faker, and then you'll get to add another Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand, which is absolutely insane. You can also banish this to re-add Protocol from your graveyard to your hand. So it just gives you ways to recur your Altergeist resources. And that's going to be it for the Altergeist package. Now let's dive into the next set. Next up is the Numeron package. So we've got triple copies of Numeron Wall. Numeron Wall, it will let you send it from the, while you have no cards on the field except for Numeron Walls. As a quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and activate one Numeron Network directly from your deck, from your hand or deck, which will help you with deck thinning, which is pretty cool. You can use this during your opponent's turn, going second, as a way to really force them to do things they don't want to do and scare them, which scaring people is always fun. Next up is going to be triple copies of Numeron Network. Okay, Numeron Network lets you send a Numeron spell or trap card that meets its activation conditions from your deck to the graveyard. That is its cost. Then this card's effects become that effect once per turn. Numeron exceeds monsters you control can use their effects without detaching materials, which is pretty crazy. And we'll get into that when we get into the extra deck. But Network kind of just gives you everything. You only run one copy of Calling. This card, it stinks to see, and this is why I upped the deck to 42. But I wanted some extra space in the extra deck to be able to abuse the power that Altergeist actually has. And I think these two strategies pair so well together. And then one copy of Terraforming. I've been playing around with cutting it, but I just find it so crucial for the Numeron package that it just doesn't make any sense to cut. But now we've got to go over to hand traps and other trap cards, and then we'll get into the extra inside. So here we go. All right, into hand traps. We got triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Forehead. Ash will let you do a lot of things. Ash is probably the best generic hand trap. Then we've got the best hand trap in Altergeist. Always triple copies of Infinite Impermanence. Being able to negate monster effects. If you open this in Multi-Faker, it is a ridiculous time. You have so much fun playing the game, and your opponent has no fun playing the game. And if you open Infinite Impermanence and Altergeist Multi-Faker as well as your Numeron stuff, you can actually sit on the Numeron cards for a little while, and if they ever break through your Altergeist plays, then you're able to push the tempo on your opponent a lot by even if they use a bunch of resources to break your board, they don't know that you have the Numeron stuff, so you just Numeron Network and then OTK them, which is absolutely insane. One copy of Imperial Order to stop spell cards from stopping you, like Forbidden Chalice. This also works against Sky Striker as a way to just say no, which is pretty crazy. Two copies of Compulse. This is a generic trap. This can be anything. I chose Compulse because where I'm playing right now, my locals is very go second heavy. So this deck just alone makes people have to play going first because they don't want to deal with all my trap cards. And Compulse is just very powerful. And finally, triple copies of Solemn Strike. Strike is my take on Called by the Grave in this deck. One of them is ultra rare and the other two are secret. I know, it's disgusting to look at. I'm sorry, I don't have a third secret. And then finally is triple copies of Judgment. This stops everything, it's Judgment. There's a reason why everything is compared to it. And that's it for the main deck, 42 cards, really solid. I really like the deck list. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But let's move on to the extra deck. I realize now that I said, unironically, that I had fun playing Altergeist. I am an awful human being for saying that, and I'm sorry. triple copies of Altergeist Hextia. Hextia is your spell negation, bleh, and it gains attack points of the monster that it's pointing to. The card's incredible. Next up is going to be Kildoga and Prima Banshee. So Kildoga is here because, one, I wanted to use as many Altergeist cards as I could in the extra deck. I think they're all pretty cool. And it's got battle axes, which is sweet. But the other reason is it actually can help. So when an Altergeist monster that you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one monster in your graveyard and special summon it to a zone this card points to. So this can be used as a way for, okay, I have Meluseek and Kildoga on board. I can use Meluseek, attack directly, send a card on the field to the graveyard. Kildoga also triggers, and I get to summon Multifaker from my graveyard, for example. And then Multifaker will summon Self-Quotus, so now I've got my full... It just gives you another form of recovery. And Prima Banshee, because she's big. That's really it. That's the only reason I run Prima Banshee. It's never come up. Alright, now for your level 1 Link monster, your Link 1 monsters. Linkuriboh and Relinquished Anima. So Anima actually helps you going second if you open Meluseek. You use Meluseek, you attack directly, you send a card, you link it away to Anima, you add a card, and then you use Anima to suck something up. All of that is just really rude. Linkuriboh is so you can go first and use Meluseek to get into your Altergeist plays. And Linkuriboh is just really solid going first because it protects itself or your field, depending. Next up, it's gonna be some generic Link monsters. So Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn. I did say at the beginning of this video that it's mostly budget. I have one card that I'm about to show you that is not budget, and I know that. Phoenix is just for other back row decks. Unicorn is for spot removal. Non-destruction spot removal. This card, you can substitute it out with anything. You can go Borreload Dragon, Boral Sword Dragon, Knight Crusadia Avermax. You can do whatever you want with it. It's a pretty free spot. I decided that I have so much interruption that I wanted more. So I went with Apollousa, Bow of the Goddess. This card is almost never made. I almost never need it because I have such an oppressive gameplay anyway, but there are situations where you're able to make this, especially like late game, where you're running out of things and you can make a really big body that can also negate effects if you can't outright kill them, because that can be a problem occasionally with this deck. So Apollousa just gives you the versatility to be able to do a lot of things. Next up is going to be Numeron. Number 1, Numeron Gate Ekam. Number 2, Numeron Gate Deve. Number 3, Numeron Gate Trini. Number 4, Numeron Gate Kadvari. And finally, number S0, Utopic Zexal. For those of you that don't know, Utopic Zexal reads, and I will read it aloud so everyone understands. This card's rank is always treated as 1. It requires 3 number exceeds monsters with the same rank. You can also exceed summon this card by discarding a rank up Magic's normal spell card, and then using a Utopia monster you control as the exceeds material. Doesn't come up. Transfer the blah blah blah. This card's exceed summon cannot be negated. When exceed summon, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated. So once you summon it, they're in for a world of hurt. Gains 1,000 attack and defense for each exceeds material attached to it. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can detach 1 exceeds material from this card. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated this turn. So, you turn off your opponent's stuff on their own turn. Super fair, right? Just grade A card design. All right, let's move on to the side deck. All right, in the side deck, we've got a bunch of hand traps and a bunch of trap cards, and that's it. The hand traps are going to be 2 copies of DD Crow, because banishing cards out of your opponent's graveyard is always fun. Triple copies of Nibiru, because I hate my opponent being able to play the game. Triple copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, because it's really good against Numeron, Eldritch, and a whole bunch of other decks. If you're curious about what I think are the best cards against Numeron and Eldritch, check out the videos of the top 5 cards versus Numeron and versus Eldritch. Next up is traps. We got 1 copy of Compulsory Evacuation Device. This is just a 3rd copy of it. It's in case you need to change out anything. like you're playing against a deck that just Ash doesn't do anything to, so compulses are better, or whatever. There's so many options with what you can side in this deck that doesn't ultimately matter. Triple copies of Heavy Storm Duster, because back row decks, you just want to be able to win the mirror match. And because I really like winning the mirror match, I also side triple copies of Evenly Matched. This is the other card that you could side. You could put compulses in for, so you could put two Evenlies in for compulse, because it's a really powerful card going second as well. It's just kind of up to personal preference. I just find that with this going second heavy meta that I have to deal with currently at my locals, I find compulsory evacuation device significantly better than Evenly Matched in those matchups. But when I know that my opponent's going to make me go second because they don't want to deal with Zexal, and I don't blame them, Evenly Matched always gets sided in for compulse, because I know I'm going to be going second. And that's going to do it for the deck profile. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, you're a sick person just like me, and I like it. Welcome back. But make sure to check out the TCG Player Store in the description below. You can buy singles there from the Gamer's Cave, from Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic. We have it all. Just come and check it out, see what we got, buy what you want. Also, check out my channel, link in the description as well. There is a similar deck profile on my channel. I think it's the same thing. I don't know. You'll have to check it out. Also with other videos such as top 5 cards versus Eldritch and top 5 cards versus Numeron. But until next time, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.